Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for October 28, 2023. Please leave a comment, like, and a share. And in the news this evening, man chopped to death in St. Catherine. The Guys Hill police have launched an investigation into the chopping death of a man in Middlesex district in St. Catherine. The man's mutilated body was found about 11 a.m. on Saturday. The resident who made the discovery summoned the police. Upon their arrival, the police reportedly observed that there were chop wounds all over the body. The police have not yet identified the deceased. St. Mary mechanic accused of armed robbery. A St. Mary mechanic is behind the bars after being charged for armed robbery. 34-year-old John Moiston, otherwise called Johnny of Frontier, Port Maria, is charged with robbery with aggravation, possession of a prohibited weapon, unauthorized access to ammunition, and using a firearm to commit a felony. It is reported that about 8:40 p.m. on July 16, a woman was in the process of closing a business establishment where she works when she was pounced upon by two gunmen wearing masks. One of the gunmen robbed her of a Samsung cellular phone and over $50,000. The police were alerted and an investigation was launched. Moiston was charged on Friday. St. James, a man charged with her brother's murder. A man who was wanted in connection with his brother's killing in Montego Bay, St. James, has now been formally charged with murder. He is Ricardo Pusey, a resident of Gully Farm Heights in St. James. Pusey was captured during a police operation in the parish on Thursday. According to the police, 21-year-old Wilton Pusey, otherwise called Tan, a laborer of Farm Heights, Montego Bay, died of wounds sustained during a domestic dispute on October 4. Reports are that about 10:50 p.m., the siblings' father was at home with his common-law wife when he was awakened by a commotion in the house. He went to investigate and saw Ricardo going through the window and Wilton leaning against the refrigerator, holding his chest. Upon closer examination, Wilton was seen with stab wounds. The police were alerted and Wilton was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Following an investigation into the incident, Ricardo was arrested. He was charged after he underwent a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. His court date is being finalized. PNP blasts the government for failure to vote on crucial UN resolution. The People's National Party has described the absence of Jamaica's representative from a crucial United Nations General Assembly vote on Friday as a new low in the country's foreign policy history. The resolution called for protection of civilians and upholding legal and humanitarian obligations in the Gaza crisis. Christopher Henry Jr., the PNP's junior shadow spokesperson on foreign affairs and foreign trade, noted that despite Jamaica's role as chair of the CARICOM Foreign Ministers Caucus, it failed to vote in support of the resolution, in contrast to CARICOM's agreed position. Mr. Henry, in a release, said the Holness administration's explanation was unsatisfactory and lacking in merit, as consultations should have been timed to enable Jamaica to vote in favor of the resolution. He noted that the vote marked the UN General Assembly's first significant response to the humanitarian tragedy resulting from Israel's collective punishment of the civilian Palestinian population in Gaza. Mr. Henry said this episode gives the impression that Jamaica is not interested in standing in solidarity with the suffering of Palestinian civilians, which he hopes will be promptly and definitively dispelled. Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith has sought to explain the failure to vote on the resolution via social media, saying consultations were underway with Kingston but did not conclude in time for the close of vote. She said the government welcomes the action taken by the UNGA and hopes that it contributes to progress. Senator Johnson-Smith also stated that, as the chair of the CARICOM caucus at the UN, Jamaica delivered a statement calling for the immediate cessation of hostilities by Israel and Hamas and the opening of humanitarian corridors. Political scientist Damon Gordon is also critical of the government's failure to vote on the UN resolution. Accordingly, he told the news that the administration should tell the country where it stands on international human rights after this failure in the international spotlight. Mr. Gordon said the response from the Foreign Affairs Minister was unsatisfactory. Jamaica not voting on what he deemed an urgent matter reflects poorly on the spirit of a unified Caribbean community and Jamaica's commitment to upholding human rights standards unconditionally, he said. The vote on the non-binding resolution came as Israel announced an expansion of ground operations in Gaza. The Jordanian draft was proposed in the name of 22 Arab countries and was co-sponsored by 47 states, including China. The resolution was approved with 120 votes in favor. 14 nations voted 14 against and 45 abstained. Jamaica was out of the room when the vote was taken. Bunting questions the government's commitment to partnership on crime. Opposition Senator Peter Bunting has questioned the government's commitment to the partnership on crime. Senator Bunting, who served as opposition spokesman on national security, raised the matter in the upper house on Friday, saying the government effectively withdrew from the Crime Management and Oversight Committee, dealing a blow to its operations as a result. He said with the rate of murders still too high, there needs to be more action.
In the last year plus, the activities have floundered, largely because the Minister of National Security, who was the initial government representative on that, had withdrawn from the meetings, and no senior member of the government has been participating for quite some time. I know the leadership of CMOC is committed, and they've been having meetings with different stakeholders, trying to re-energize and reactivate the work. And I know I have to pay tribute to Mr. Lloyd Distant, who has been passionate and relentless in his personal commitment to ensure that it doesn't fall by the wayside. Crime continues to be foremost in people's mind, notwithstanding whatever percentage drop relative to last year, but murders are still way higher than they should be.
Truckers sounded the alarm about the long delays at the port. The Port Trailer Haulage Association has raised a concern about the prevailing turnaround time at the Kingston Freeport Terminal. According to Basil Lee, president of the association, visits by truck drivers are lasting 3 to 4 hours, increasing from 2 hours over the last 5 months. Mr. Lee said the optimal turnaround time should be 45 minutes to 1 hour. He said with the delays now being experienced and the Christmas season fast approaching, there's an urgent need to fix the problem. Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited has said it anticipates that the issues causing vessel delays will be rectified by mid-November. In a media release on Wednesday, KFTL acknowledged that the delays have been creating challenges for importers and exporters, especially with the Christmas season approaching. It explained that it has recently been experiencing challenges with vessels operated by certain shipping lines. Weather system may bring increased rainfall up to Monday, says the Met Office. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica says a broad area of low pressure over the southwestern Caribbean Sea continues to generate unstable weather in the vicinity of Jamaica and could result in increased showers up to Monday. The system is not expected to intensify further, but it could bring an increase of rainfall to the island on Sunday and Monday, the Met Office said in a post to X on Saturday afternoon. Heavy rains have been affecting several parishes across Jamaica for the past few days. Persistent rains is customary in Jamaica during October, which is the wettest month for the island.